Hi, this is Tom Hoskins for Mining Journal. I'm here with Alex Sukanet, who's the CEO of Nova Royalty, which is a TSXV listed royalty player with a focus on premium battery metal assets. The company owns royalties on 4 of the 10 largest open pit copper projects, including 3 of the most advanced. Hi, Alex, how's it going?
Hey, Tom, it's great to be here again. Thank you.
Excellent to have you with us. So for viewers who aren't familiar with Nova, maybe you could just start by giving us a brief history of the company and your vision for taking the company forward.
Thank you very much. We started the company in the summer of 2018, and the idea was very simple. We wanted to create a first mover in the copper royalty space. The reason we wanted to focus on copper is because copper is the core commodity of the entire energy transition. Everything from electric vehicles to wind to solar is powered by copper. So we really saw the commodity becoming highly strategic worldwide. And the best way we felt to participate in any commodity would be via the royalty model, because as I'm sure a lot of viewers know, you have all the benefits of multi-decade project expansion, multiple commodity price cycles, without any of the negatives of mining, which can be very difficult, such as capital costs and operating costs. So with the opportunity to become a first mover in the copper royalty space, we put together a great team of people with expertise in every facet of mining, from geology to engineering to metallurgy, and most importantly is relationships in all the key mining camps. Because if you want to be a copper royalty company, you will not have really an opportunity to originate royalties on blue chip assets with companies like First Quantum or Lundin. The only way you can really get that exposure is to find the families of the original prospectors who found the assets, sold these assets at some point in the past, often 20, 30 years before, to majors or mid-tiers, and in the course of those transactions, receive the royalty in exchange. So our business fundamental is relationships, and it's relationships with people that are regular people who want to get value for something that are unique assets. So if you look at where Nova is today, we have royalties on 5 of the top 10 copper development assets in the Americas, including arguably 3 of the most advanced in Taca Taca, First Quantum, Josemaria, Lundin, and Copper World Hudbay. And we've done that by repeatedly transacting with families who have sold royalties to us in exchange for shares and cash. And seeing how much it's happened actually in shares, where they really believe in the company and they want to be a part of the company for years to come. That's a great feeling for us. And I think it shows the durability of the Nova model. So now that we have this foundational portfolio, we're expecting construction decisions on 3 assets in the next 2 years. Like, as I said before, that's Taca Taca, Josemaria, and Copper World. And we have multiple other major assets such as Vizcachitas, Nueva Union, West Wall, which are clearly mainstays of the sector and expect to be developed at some time in this copper cycle. So we're very excited about this foundation. And again, we're taking a 20+ year view in this business because that's how you have to be in copper, just given how long everything takes and the fact that the assets often run for 50, 70, 100 years and beyond.
Okay, so what's your kind of like key checklist when you're looking at new assets?
I think you look at everything because you're in the business of risk and you have to really carefully evaluate that risk if you want to be successful. So of course, you look at the technical aspects, which is geology, metallurgy, engineering, and the like. To be honest, though, if you have a major operator, often a lot of that work is already done for you, because big companies, by the time they get close to pressing the button, the major project, so much diligence has gone into it. The social part, I think, often requires a lot more work, because I think that's where companies struggle much more. When you look at, say, community disagreements or governmental issues and the like, I think that's where a lot of companies find themselves surprised. And so us as a royalty company, we have to be very thoughtful about which jurisdictions we want to be in. And even if you get the country right, you still have to look at the region and be very, very careful about where you go and where you don't. So I think a lot of our work in terms of due diligence has really focused on those local social issues to make sure that if we do put our capital somewhere, that it's a place that's fundamentally supportive of mining. So, for instance, we've obviously invested heavily in Argentina, in the provinces of Salta and San Juan. And the reason is we think these are some of the most supportive jurisdictions for major copper project development anywhere on the planet. And because you're seeing support from the government level, from the business community level, from the social level. And that's why you've seen so many big companies actually invest in those provinces recently. Obviously, Stellantis, BHP, Rio Tinto, Pasco, and the like. So you really do have to pay attention to the social. So you need everything. And of course, the operator. You need someone who has the capital, the motivation, and the sophistication to really stick through what is really a 5-year commitment to build it. And then obviously they'll expect to be there for a very long time afterward. And given the nature of the copper business, where in the market, which is about $250–300 billion a year, you have less than one major asset being brought online per year. So you've got to be very careful about where you put your capital to make sure that you're actually putting into projects that have some visible timeline to development, which is why we're very happy to have locked down Taca Taca, Josemaria, and Copper World, because they clearly have those timelines already in place. And so everything really has to come together for you to risk that capital. At the same time, if you get it correctly, and then you have something that can cash flow and get stronger for decades into the future, which I think for investors creates a very unique proposition.
Okay, yeah, I mean, clearly this is a challenging environment. As you say, capital is scarce, but you're confident of being able to pick up more assets. I mean, even presumably your job is harder than it was a couple of years ago to find these things.
I actually think that this environment creates a phenomenal opportunity for us. If you look at how Nova has been built, we've been built through relationships with people who wanted to come back to us for more deals. So we picked up Taca Taca through several transactions. We just did earlier this week. We did our second transaction in Copper World with the same family. We have excellent support from our cornerstone shareholder BD Capital out of Vancouver. So we've really built a great network of trusted relationships throughout the sector of people who want to do business with us. And when you look at the Nova portfolio right now, when you look at the quality and diversification, it's a very unique proposition, because a very significant proportion of the next generation of copper assets already sits in the company. So when we talk about owners of other high quality royalties, it's natural for them to consider taking shares in Nova because of the exposure they're going to get. And again, of course, we're talking an environment which is much more stressed today than I think we've seen probably in a long time. At the same time, that's, I think, where people who have a track record of doing the right things with counterparties and doing win-win deals can really benefit. So when you look at the pipeline today, we have a lot of great opportunities to add to the portfolio, and we're very excited about doing that in the next 12 months.
Understood. Thanks, Alex. So conscious that we're just running out of time a little bit now, but I just want to end on asking you about the coming 12 months or so. What do you see as potential catalysts for the business?
When you look at the business, this is not a short-term business. I mean, we're looking at this 20+ years into the future, because when you look at the assets, they're, a bunch of these can run well past the century mark. When you look at their size and the operators and the like. So every 12 months, all you're trying to do is just do the best job you can to build in the business the right way. We have great opportunities in front of us in terms of acquisitions. We're seeing more and more interest from some really strong fundamental investors who understand what the company is trying to do. So of course it's a time of stress, but I think it's also a time of opportunity. So what we see is really a great chance to build the business further by doing the right deals. And that's what we plan to do.
Perfect. Well, yeah, thank you very much indeed for that, Alex. So yeah, that's all we have time for today, but it just remains for me to thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.
For now, that concludes this video from Mining Journal. Goodbye.